Romano drops truth bomb. The real story behind Ratcliffe's emergency United meetings and Amorim's future. Welcome to Unite United News, your most trusted source for Manchester United breaking news and insider information. When speculation runs wild and rumors fly about the future of our club, you need reliable reporting that separates fact from fiction. We've been bringing you verified news and expert analysis for years, and today we're breaking down the biggest story surrounding Old Trafford right now. The question every United fan is asking: is Amorim really fighting for his job after Ratcliffe's urgent meetings? The rumors have been flying thick and fast over the past week. Ruben Amorim facing the sack. Emergency board meetings. Sir Jim Ratcliffe jetting in for crisis talks. 3 games to save his job. The speculation has reached fever pitch, and Manchester United fans have been left wondering what's really happening behind the scenes at their club. Now, the most trusted transfer journalist in the world, Fabrizio Romano, has revealed the truth about what's really going on. His latest update provides crucial insight into Amorim's position, Ratcliffe's involvement, and what the future holds for Manchester United's embattled manager. But the picture Romano paints isn't as simple as the headlines suggest. There's support for Amorim, but also clear warnings about what needs to change. There are planned meetings, but also urgent conversations about the club's direction. Most importantly, there are no replacement managers being lined up, but that doesn't mean the pressure isn't real. The numbers that tell a damning story. Before we dive into Romano's revelations, we need to understand just how bad things have gotten for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. The statistics make for grim reading and explain why there's so much speculation about his future. The worst start in 33 years. Manchester United's start to this Premier League season has been historically bad. It's not just disappointing, it's the worst beginning to a campaign that the club has experienced in over 3 decades. Think about that for a moment. Through all the struggles since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, through all the different managers and failed experiments, this start under Amorim is the absolute worst. Humiliating cup exit. The League Cup defeat to 4th-tier Grimsby Town might be the most embarrassing result in Manchester United's recent history. Getting knocked out by a team from League Two isn't just a bad result. It's a humiliation that questions everything about the club's standards and preparation. This wasn't a close game where United were unlucky. They were comprehensively outplayed by a team that shouldn't even be on the same pitch as them. That kind of performance raises serious questions about the manager's methods and the players' commitment. Premier League struggles. In the Premier League, United have managed just 1 win from their first 4 games. For a club with their ambitions and resources, this kind of start is simply unacceptable. The single victory came in dramatic fashion against Burnley with a last-minute penalty, but even that performance raised more questions than it answered about United's direction under Amorim. The shocking statistics. Perhaps most damning of all are Amorim's overall statistics as United manager. His Premier League win ratio of just 26% is disastrous for any manager, let alone one at a club like United. Even more concerning is his overall win ratio of 36% across all competitions. This places him as United's worst manager since World War II, a statistic that puts his struggles into stark historical perspective. These aren't just numbers on a page. They represent real failures on the pitch, disappointed fans, and a club that seems to be moving backwards rather than forwards. The media speculation reaches fever pitch. With results this bad, it was inevitable that speculation about Amorim's future would intensify. Different media outlets have been reporting different timelines for when the axe might fall. The Mirror's 3-game ultimatum. The Mirror reported that Amorim effectively has 3 matches to save his job. This would put enormous pressure on the upcoming fixtures against Chelsea, Brentford, and Sunderland. If this timeline is accurate, it means every single decision Amorim makes in these games will be scrutinized and could determine his future at the club. The Daily Mail's November timeline. The Daily Mail was slightly more generous, suggesting that United aren't likely to make a change until November 1st. This date is significant because it marks Amorim's 1-year anniversary at the club. The financial implications of this timing are huge. If United sack Amorim before November 1st, they would owe him a compensation package worth £12 million. The financial factor. This £12 million compensation clause adds another layer of complexity to any decision about Amorim's future. For a club already dealing with financial fair play concerns, paying out such a huge sum would be extremely painful. It also means that United might be motivated to keep Amorim until after the anniversary date, not because they believe in him, but simply to avoid the financial penalty. Romano's truth. What really happened? Into this whirlwind of speculation steps Fabrizio Romano with his trademark, "Here we go clarity." His latest update provides crucial insight into what's actually happening behind the scenes at Manchester United. Ratcliffe's planned involvement. Romano revealed that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was indeed at the Etihad Stadium for the Manchester Derby and subsequently flew to Carrington for meetings. However, the crucial detail is that these meetings were already planned, even before the Derby result. This is important because it suggests that while Ratcliffe is closely monitoring the situation, his involvement isn't necessarily a panic response to the City defeat. Sources at Man United make very clear those meetings were planned. They were already planned even before the Derby result, Romano explained. Face-to-face conversations. What makes this situation more serious is that these meetings included direct, face-to-face conversations between Ratcliffe and Amorim. This isn't just the co-owner getting briefed by other executives. He's speaking directly to the manager. When a club owner starts having personal meetings with the manager, it usually means they want to understand the situation firsthand, rather than relying on reports from others. Amorim's defiant position. Perhaps most revealing is Romano's insight into Amorim's position during these conversations. The Portuguese manager isn't accepting blame for the poor results and isn't backing down from his methods. Romano explained that Amorim has a very clear position about why United are struggling, and it relates to the intensity of the team rather than tactical issues. Amorim's defense. It's not the system. One of the most important revelations from Romano's update is Amorim's insistence that the tactical system isn't the problem. This is significant because much of the criticism has focused on his 3-4-3 formation and tactical approach. Standing by his philosophy, Amorim has made it clear in conversations with directors, management, and Ratcliffe that he believes the tactical approach and system aren't creating United's problems. This is backed up by his public comments where he said, "It's not about the philosophy. If you want to change the philosophy, you have to change the man." The intensity issue. According to Romano, Amorim believes the real problem is the intensity of the team and wants a different approach from his players. This suggests he thinks the players aren't executing his instructions with the required commitment and energy. If this is accurate, it means Amorim sees this as a player problem rather than a tactical problem. He believes his methods are correct, but the players aren't implementing them properly. A manager under pressure but unbowed. What comes through clearly is that Amorim isn't changing his approach despite the pressure. He's convinced that his philosophy is correct and that the problems lie elsewhere. This could be seen as admirable stubbornness or dangerous inflexibility, depending on your perspective. But it certainly shows that he's not panicking or desperately trying to change everything to save his job. The crucial detail: no replacement talks. Perhaps the most important revelation in Romano's update is what isn't happening behind the scenes at United. No official conversations with other managers. Romano was very clear that despite all the speculation, United have not started any official conversations with potential replacement managers. Many have asked me about managers and candidates. We are not at the stage where we can say, this guy can be the next Man United manager or the other guy is the main candidate, he explained. Respect for Amorim continues. Romano also mentioned that United still have respect for Amorim and are keep working with Amorim to improve the squad. This suggests that while there's pressure, there's no immediate plan to remove him. But results are needed. However, Romano balanced this by making it clear that results are needed, and they can't continue like this forever. The message is that while Amorim has support now, that support isn't unconditional. Reading between the lines. While Romano's update provides some reassurance for Amorim, reading between the lines reveals that the situation is still precarious. Trust but verify. Romano concluded by saying that United keep trusting Amorim, but different results are needed. This is the classic vote of confidence that often precedes a sacking in football. The presence of Ratcliffe and his direct involvement sends quite a clear message, according to Romano. When owners start getting personally involved, it usually means patience is running thin. The pressure is real. While United might not be actively looking for replacements yet, the pressure on Amorim is clearly enormous. The fact that he's having to explain his philosophy to the co-owner shows how serious the situation has become. What this means for the immediate future. Based on Romano's revelations, we can start to understand what the next few weeks might hold for Amorim and Manchester United. The Chelsea test. Saturday's game against Chelsea becomes even more crucial in light of this information. It's not just about getting a result, it's about showing Ratcliffe and the board that the intensity and approach Amorim wants is actually working. If United put in another flat performance against Chelsea, it will be hard for Amorim to maintain his argument that the players just aren't executing his methods properly. The November timeline. The November 1st timeline mentioned by various media outlets might be more relevant than it first appeared. If United are going to make a change, doing it after the anniversary date would save them £12 million. This creates an awkward situation where Amorim might be safe in the short term not because of his results, but because of financial considerations. Building pressure. Even if United aren't actively looking for replacements now, continued poor results would likely force them to start those conversations. Romano's update should be seen as a temporary reprieve rather than a guarantee of long-term security. The Ratcliffe factor. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's personal involvement in this situation adds another important dimension to consider. Hands-on ownership. Ratcliffe's decision to attend the Derby and then fly to Carrington for meetings shows that he's not a passive owner. He wants to understand what's happening and be involved in important decisions. This kind of hands-on approach can be positive if it leads to better decision-making, but it can also increase pressure on managers who know they're being closely watched. Business perspective. Coming from a business background, Ratcliffe will likely have limited patience for continued failure. If he believes that Amorim isn't delivering the results United need, he might push for change regardless of other considerations. Long-term vision. On the other hand, Ratcliffe might also recognize that constant managerial changes haven't worked for United in the past. His involvement could be about understanding the situation better rather than looking for reasons to make a change. The player's role. Amorim's insistence that the problem is intensity rather than tactics puts the spotlight firmly on the players. Execution versus philosophy. If Amorim is right that his methods are sound but the players aren't implementing them properly, then the issue becomes one of motivation and commitment rather than tactical sophistication. This raises questions about whether the current squad is capable of playing the way Amorim wants, or whether they're simply not buying into his approach. The accountability question. By focusing on intensity and approach rather than tactics, Amorim is essentially saying that the players need to take more responsibility for the poor results. This could be a risky strategy because if results don't improve, it might look like he's trying to deflect blame rather than accept responsibility. Fan reactions and expectations. United fans have had mixed reactions to Romano's revelations, with some feeling relieved that there's still support for Amorim while others worry that the club is just delaying the inevitable. Relief at no replacement search. Many fans are relieved to hear that United aren't actively looking for Amorim's replacement. After years of managerial instability, there's an appetite for giving managers more time to implement their ideas. Concern about results. However, most fans also recognize that results need to improve dramatically if Amorim is going to survive long-term. The statistics are too bad to ignore indefinitely. Patience versus standards. This creates a tension between wanting to be patient with a new manager and maintaining the standards expected at a club like Manchester United. What success looks like. Given Romano's revelations, what would constitute success for Amorim in the coming weeks? Immediate improvement. The most obvious requirement is immediate improvement in results and performances. The games against Chelsea, Brentford, and Sunderland become crucial tests of whether his methods can work. Intensity and commitment. Based on his own diagnosis of the problems, Amorim needs to show that he can get the intensity and commitment he wants from his players. Tactical vindication. If results improve while maintaining his 3-4-3 system, it would vindicate his insistence that the philosophy isn't the problem. The bigger picture. Romano's update also reveals some important things about how Manchester United operates as a club in the modern era. Measured decision-making. The fact that they're not rushing to find a replacement suggests that United are trying to learn from past mistakes where quick decisions led to more problems. Financial considerations. The £12 million compensation clause shows how expensive it has become to make managerial changes, which might encourage more patience. Owner involvement. Ratcliffe's hands-on approach suggests that future decisions about managers will involve direct input from ownership rather than just being left to football executives. Looking ahead. Based on Romano's revelations, the next few weeks will be crucial for determining Amorim's future at Manchester United. Short-term stability. In the immediate term, Amorim appears to have more security than the media speculation suggested. There's no active search for replacements, and the club is still working with him to improve the situation. Long-term uncertainty. However, the long-term picture remains uncertain. Continued poor results would likely force United to reconsider their position, regardless of their current support. The November decision point. The November 1st anniversary date looms large as a potential decision point. If results haven't improved by then, United might feel they have no choice but to act. Conclusion. A manager living on borrowed time? Fabrizio Romano's latest revelations provide much-needed clarity about Ruben Amorim's situation at Manchester United. But they also highlight just how precarious his position remains. While the immediate speculation about his sacking appears to be overblown, the underlying pressure is very real. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's personal involvement, the demand for improved results, and the historical nature of United's poor start all combine to create an environment where Amorim is essentially fighting for his managerial life. The fact that United haven't started looking for replacements provides some short-term security, but it shouldn't be mistaken for a long-term guarantee. Romano's message is clear. There's still trust in Amorim, but that trust has conditions attached. Amorim's insistence that the problem is intensity rather than tactics is either a sign of admirable conviction or dangerous stubbornness. The coming weeks will determine which interpretation proves correct. The financial implications of the £12 million compensation clause add another layer of complexity to the situation. United might keep Amorim not because they believe in him, but simply because it's too expensive to sack him before November 1st. For United fans, Romano's update provides some reasons for cautious optimism. There's no immediate panic, no replacement being lined up, and some apparent faith in the current manager's methods. But there's also a clear message that results must improve dramatically if Amorim is to have any long-term future at Old Trafford. The next few games take on enormous significance in this context. Saturday's match against Chelsea isn't just about 3 points. It's about proving that Amorim's philosophy can work and that the players can deliver the intensity he demands. At United News, we'll continue following every development in this story. Romano's revelations have provided clarity about the current situation, but they've also highlighted how quickly things could change if results don't improve. The truth, as Romano has revealed it, is that Amorim has breathing space but not breathing room. He has support but not unconditional backing. Most importantly, he has time to prove his methods work, but that time is limited and getting shorter with every poor performance. Keep checking back with United News for all the latest updates on this developing story. When the future of Manchester United hangs in the balance, you need coverage you can trust to separate fact from speculation.